Welcome to the history of the lifts in the Square Tallaght. For reference, the Square Tallaght has 7 public lifts. There's 2 glass lifts in the main atrium serving centre floors 1, 2 and 3. There are 2 hydraulic Pickerings lifts in the south section which go up to the level 3 overflow car park. There are also 3 traction Pickerings lifts in the multi-storey car park down on the outside on level 1. Starting with the glass lifts, they were originally unknown lifts from 1990. They looked spectacular and definitely something out of the 90s. They had decorative lighting on the rear side of the lift and they also had chrome finishings. Here is a picture from the RTE Archives video. Source for this picture, first link in the description, RTE Archives, the Square Tallaght opens. I don't know very much about these lifts. I originally speculated that these were express lifts, however I'm doubting that now. In 2008, Pickerings modernised these lifts. The exterior chrome finishing was removed and plastic panels were put in place of them. The lights were also removed. The lift shape remained, which was interesting. The controller was replaced with a TVC controller. They didn't run very efficiently, however they are very sentimental to me. They had the older TVC female voice and Dewhurst buttons. They had no particular fixture line. They had purple LCD indicators, which I very much liked. The exterior decor changed quite a bit over the years as well. Here is a picture from 2013 and here is a picture from 2018. Quite different. As you can see, they also used to have custom stickers on the doors in 2013, however they were replaced to more simplistic ones in 2018. I preferred the 2013 doors over the 2018 decor. On the 17th of August 2020, the left-hand glass lift was decommissioned. I remember I was coming up the travelator from level 1 to level 2 and I saw this weird blue mesh in the shaft. I was like, what's happening? Is the lift shaft being cleaned or something? But then I spotted there was actually no lift in the shaft. Where's the lift gone? Is it down on the ground floor under the scaffolding or something? But then I came off the travelator, I walked around to where Dunn's is. I'll quickly show a recreation of this on Google Maps. And I was coming around and I came around to the front of the glass lifts and I saw the white hoardings. I was like, no, my glass lifts, they're gone. I originally speculated that they would be replaced by Connie because they were maintained by Connie, and I associated the blue mesh with being from Connie. But then I saw ThyssenKrupp on the hoardings. I was like, ThyssenKrupp, of all things, ThyssenKrupp. It was unknown at this time as to what good lifts would come in place of these. I also filmed the video titled A Final Ride on the Glass Lifts of the Square before replacement on this day as well. You can hear in my voice that I'm not very impressed. Over the course of the next few months, the lift was gradually being installed. At one point there was just this metal box in the shaft and I was like, they better not leave it like that or else I'd be very angry. As the weeks went by, they built up the lift and it looked great. I was very disappointed that they didn't include the original shape though. I still am to this day, but I've gotten over it a bit. For most of September, I believe they were just testing and setting up the controller of the lift because it sat above the first floor for a good couple of weeks actually. Yeah, I think it sat there for most of the first half of September. Just sat slightly above the first floor doing nothing. On the indicator it said IF, which is the same thing what happened during the 2021 breakdown. One day, both lifts were out of service. The left glass lift was still being installed and the right-hand Pickering lift was broken, so there was no lift access during that day. Here's a quick video of me trying to call the glass lift even though it was clearly out of service. The weeks went by and the lift changed position quite a lot, though as I said, for the most part it did sit above 1 for the most September. It did change position a lot though for some reason. Then finally the day came, 3rd of October 2020, my first ride of that lift. From that first ride from level 2 to level 1, I was very impressed. From its smoothness to the efficiency, it was amazing. Unknown to me at the time, the lift would actually get faster than that. When I filmed that first clip, it was in an energy saving mode where if it hasn't been used for some time, it accelerates slightly slower. So it was to become more efficient after that. Over the course of October, the right hand lift was also installed. On the 3rd of October, there was no mesh in the shaft, it was just chains for some reason. Then of course the box came and then the full lift came. I remember on the 31st of October 2020, the right-hand glass lift was sitting in JU mode for some reason, which translates as just your fart, or adjustment run. Then the day came, 7th of November 2020, the right-hand glass lift entered service. Since then, they've run spectacularly and their reliability is insane. As far as I know, there's only been one breakdown, the left-hand glass lift on the 29th of April 2021. It was out of service for a couple of days and then returned to service at the weekend. On the 27th of November 2021, the left-hand glass lift had a bit of a problem. It was sitting there it was sitting on the third floor, slightly overran, with the alarm button lit and the indicator turned off. On the external indicators, it lit up dash dash. So I don't know what went wrong there, but clearly something did. And yeah, that's pretty much the history of the glass lift. Moving on to the south lifts then, the hydraulic Pickerings lifts. I don't actually know that much about them. I believe they are modernizations of older lifts because of the disused indicators on the second floor. There's disused matrix indicators on the second floor alongside the Lisa indicators. I don't really know much about those lifts, so I'm not going to talk about them for that long, but at the minute they have Lisa DR9 fixtures and are hydraulic. At the minute the right-hand lift is under maintenance and they are cordoned off with barriers. I don't know why, but the car park is still open for some reason. Yeah, I believe they are modernizations of Pickerings because of the worn away door track logo that says Pickerings lifts on it. And now we have the multi-storey car park lifts, my favourite lifts of the square. Originally from either 1997 or 1998, source The Irish Times, 1997, second link in the description. Originally from 1997 or 1998, I don't actually know what they were, but I speculate they were also Pickerings lifts. In 2008 and 2009, Pickerings modernised them, and ever since then they're such sentimental lifts to me. 10th of September 2011, I got stuck in the left-hand one, which scared me off lifts for years. I remember that. I was stuck in there with some family and some other random members of the public. The left lift had closed its doors and didn't move, so I pressed the open button and it opened. It closed and I said, we should have got out. But that time when we pressed the open button, what happens? The doors don't open. So yeah, we rang the alarm button and I can't remember the exact conversation, but I believe they said something along the lines of they sent someone else to let us out. I remember about 10 minutes after we rang the alarm, there was a Dunn's worker in the lift with us. She was parked up on the 5th floor and she got fed up of waiting, so she forced open the doors herself. Yeah, just straight up forced the doors open. Coincidentally, at the same time, the security guard came along to let us out with the triangle key. Then we went up the metal lift to the second floor and I was scared for about 5 years after that. What's also funny is I did not use those lifts for about 9 years. The 12th of September 2020 was the first time I rode those lifts after getting stuck in them. Coincidentally, this is also the first clip you see of my 2021 New Year's video, where I go up in the left lift. I was scared shitless. Literally, I was scared shitless because I still had that fear of them. Yeah. Now they are my second favourite lifts ever. In terms of lifts themselves, they are very different from each other. The left lift is the best condition and is my favourite. It has very smooth doors and in general is just great. The middle lift is in the worst condition, but definitely not bad condition. The button labels are weird and the voice is out by one. The doors also slam very hard for some reason, despite multiple attempts to fix this. The right lift, in my opinion, is the least interesting. For some reason, it doesn't feel like it's moving as fast as the other two. It feels like it's moving a lot slower, despite the fact it's also going 1 meter a second. Weird. Then, it has the best condition button labels. It has all the correct plaque. It has some slightly slamming doors, despite multiple attempts to fix this. For some reason, it also just opens the doors randomly. Like, it'll be nearly finished closing and they just randomly reopen for some reason. Often it takes multiple attempts to fix them. On the first floor, they also stop just before they open fully, and you can't close them unless you push them into their position. Very weird. and also likes to emergency stop spontaneously for some reason. Jesus! Fuck. Jeff, I believe that's the history of the Squares lifts. I don't have anything more to add at this time, however, I may do an updated video in the future.